While we work on our slow in and slow out activities, we're going to start incorporating a tool called onion skin. Now, if you've ever spent any time with an onion, you may have noticed that the skin is a very thin, delicate film that you can sort of see through, though not perfectly. Onion skinning in animation works in a similar way. When we turn on the onion skin feature, we can see multiple frames at one time, so we can compare how they are working together so far. Let's get it set up in our Bouncing Ball 2 file. Move the playhead on your timeline so that it's on the contact frame in the middle of your timeline. This should be the middle keyframe, and if you have been following along exactly, it should be frame 13. Now the next thing we're going to do to turn on the onion skinning feature is take a look at the icons directly underneath the timeline. We have a play button, rewind, fast forward, we have a loop button, and then we have a set of overlapping squares, 3 different buttons. We're going to focus on the one that has a dark square overlapping a light square. When you hover your mouse over that, it should say onion skin. Click on that icon to turn on that feature. Now 2 things should have happened. First, you should now be able to see a few different frames that you created, or a few different bouncing balls. They're transparent, or you can see through them. Also, if you take a look at your timeline, you now have 2 brackets, one on each side of the frame that we're working on, the contact frame. The bracket to the left of the current frame represents the past frames, while the bracket to the right of the current frame represents the future frames. We can now see the spacing of the ball's movement within the span of the brackets on the timeline. If I move my playhead around the timeline, I can adjust which frames I'm seeing with onion skin. We want to look at the timing for the first half of the bounce, or the fall. With the playhead, that red rectangle, back on the contact frame in the middle, or the current frame, grab the left bracket on the timeline and drag it all the way to the beginning as far as you can possibly go. Frame 1. Grab the right bracket and drag it as far to the left as you can. It won't let you pass the current frame you're on, so it should stop at frame 13. Right now you should see a trail of semi-transparent bouncing balls getting more and more opaque as it gets closer to the bottom. Notice that right now all of the images are spaced evenly. That means that this movement is going to be very robotic, cold, and uninteresting. To make the animation more interesting, we'll need to add that slow in, slow out principle we have been talking about. The onion skin feature will allow us to see the difference in the spacing of our frames.